Jen Roberts. I am teacher Jen. I am a 7-year homeschool teacher. I have also taught school 5 years previous to that. Currently, I teach ESL online. And so my whole life is kind of about teaching. And that's what this channel is about. It's about teaching homeschool. It's about teaching online. It could be about teaching in your church setting. So if you have any questions about those things, go on ahead and ask and like and share. All right. So today we're specifically looking at homeschooling. I've had several requests about homeschool or to do videos about homeschooling, and I get lots of questions like how do you schedule, how do you plan, what is curriculum like, things like that. So thought I would do a series on homeschooling to start off with. If you have any questions or if you have any ideas that you would like to share, I would love to learn from you guys as well. So just share that in the comments below, and that would be great. So today we're specifically going to be talking about scheduling. Now, I can only tell you what I do for scheduling, things that have helped for our family. But the cool thing about homeschooling is that every family is completely different from each other, and they all have different needs and wants. So this schedule is just something that works for my family, and I hope that it might give you some ideas for things that could work for you. Now, keep in mind, I have a junior high student, a middle school student, and a preschooler. I'm homeschooling all three of them. So that is what this schedule is for. It's for my two older kids, and specifically, how do you put preschool in with those older kids with you as the only parent? All right. So let's get, or not the only parent, but the only one there. Teaching at the time. So let's go on ahead and get started and look at what we have going on today. So this first picture, this is my schedule that I type up every year. So I like to put everything all on one sheet. This is something that I put up in my home. And this gives us the basic structure of our day. Now, I am a super flexible person. This is our basic foundational structure, and it changes every single day. We don't follow everything exactly how this goes every day, but it does give us the framework for which to start our day, and it gives my student who has a lot of anxiety about life in general. It helps keep the anxiety down and helps them to focus on the next task and what is happening. All right, it gives them the power um, to control their day, and gives also the tools to be able to be successful in the future. So that's how we work within our framework. Okay, so on this, let me pull this up for you. Let me make this bigger rather. All right, so on this, I do, if you notice, right underneath the day of the week, I write down what chores we're going to be doing for that day. Or if there's a different kind of meal that we're going to be, like, for example, on Tuesday, we're out all day. My son has Taekwondo, my daughter has piano, and we're just out all day long. So I have put a note in there that we do a crock pot or a special kind of meal that whenever we get home it is cooked, and just makes it a lot easier for me. So I write down those special notes as well. Um, I and then the next three sections, morning, afternoon, evening, that is what we do as a family. This is what our day looks like. And my bigs, especially, this is their schedule. So we start off with current events and Bible time. I use the Kids News audio podcast for current events. It's not something that I specifically teach. I love Kid News. I have found that that's my favorite one because it's very straightforward. It's kid friendly, and it does provide a lot of information about what's going on in the world and gets them thinking about that. And then we can talk about those current events in a biblical worldview at lunch, which I'll talk about later. Then we also do our Bible time. This is use an audio Bible, and I play that in the morning as I'm cleaning up the kitchen. And my 3-year-old is playing with his toys and stuff while my kids are while we're all listening to the kid news and the audio Bible. It's a quiet working time for us. After we do that, we have study hall, and this is whenever life starts to get become a little bit uh, I mean, where our school day really starts. Okay, so from 8:30 to 9 o'clock, this is my time where my kids begin their independent study. I schedule if you I schedule 30 minutes of this time with my older kids, and I set time aside for them so they can look through what I've asked them to do, and if they have any questions, I can answer those questions before I start preschool. What that study hall looks like is this. Let me put this a little bit smaller now. So this is actually for this next school year. These are the lesson plans that I have written for my kids. So I teach Charlotte Mason, and I can talk more about that in a different video because this is not about curriculum. But this schedule does reflect my Charlotte Mason schedule, or the way that I teach. So we do a copy work. So they have a Bible verse that they copy every day. And this is also part of their memory work that they do daily. Then I have their schedule down. And then underneath that, that is where their independent schoolwork is. This is what they are required to do this year. Since I have a middle schooler and junior high student, they are keeping their own agendas, and they have the freedom to schedule what they do every day during our study hall time. I give them what I think that they should do, but they have for the week, this is what we're going to do, and then they schedule that for themselves. And so this is what they can do on their own. Okay. And if they have any questions during study hall time about anything that's happening, because I'm about to start my preschool time, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But during this time, if they have a question on a problem, if they may either come up to me and ask, or they can circle. And I prefer if it's something that is it's small, or it's not the whole math. And we try to look at that in that 30-minute time period. Right whenever study hall starts, I want them to look at that to see if they have any big questions. So any small questions that they have, they circle it, and we leave it to our grading and review time, which I'll talk about in a moment. Also during study hall, while my big kids are doing their study hall, my preschooler has his own schedule. That starts at 9 o'clock. Okay. So after I have my big set up for school, I start my preschool time. And my big kids know that during preschool, that is their independent time. So I actually have 3 times where I am totally focused on my preschooler. And then I have time scheduled like outside play, free time. That is whenever my big kids can come up and ask any big questions that they have on their schoolwork. Okay. So I try to do small increments of time is for my younger students. This time is for my older, and kind of uh, uh, oh my goodness, I lost the word. Differentiate during the day. Go back and forth between the two. All right. For my preschooler, I do very short amounts of time for his attention span, because he can only pay attention for like 15 or 20 minutes at a time, right? And so I do schedule it 30 minutes, but that's 30 minutes to grab the materials, sit him down, do the activity, clean it up, then we're on to the next thing, right? So really, I'm only requiring him like 10 or 15 minutes to sit down and do something at a time. And he has frequent times of play. I don't put the different activities right behind each other. He needs that time to play, right? So we are done with his preschool. Preschool is only 2 hours, 3 days a week, right? And so we do 9 to 11 his preschool time, with frequent breaks in between. And then at 11, I start preparing lunch. My big kids are finishing up study hall, and Cameron is playing by himself quietly with some either books, or I have quiet manipulatives that I have prepared for him. I can do a video series on that if you would like to see what I do for that. But that's only 30 minutes. Like I said, preschoolers have a very small attention span. So I'm always changing him from one thing to another to keep him from distracting his older siblings. So after study hall at 11, my husband comes home from work for lunch. So we do have an hour of time where we have lunch together as a family. That's how it naturally breaks down for our family. It may change for yours. But during lunch is whenever I bring home our Bible time, because my 3-year-old is occupied. And remember, now I have a Bible study devotional time specifically with my preschooler during his preschool time. And at lunch, he is occupied. He's listening, hopefully, with what we're talking about as a family. But that is our time where we speak about and review what they listen to in the audio Bible. And also, I check for their verse memorization and things like that at lunchtime. My husband is also reading, listening to the audio Bible lesson that we listened to that morning. We're all on the same page. We're all talking about that at lunchtime. And then after lunch, my preschooler goes to bed. Thank you. He still takes a nap. I'm so thankful for that. Some kids don't take a nap. Mine does. And so that is the time that I have set aside for our history and science time. Like I said, I teach Charlotte Mason. So Charlotte Mason focuses pretty heavily on living books. And so we read a lot and cozy up together and do experiments and stuff like that together during that time. I like to share a lot of YouTube. Well, we won't go into curriculum. If you have any questions about that, I'll put that in a different video. But that's what we do during that time. And so, and then the rest of and then after that time, I have a grading and review. Now, remember whenever I said that I had my students circle any questions that they have? I have them circle what they need to do, and so, or what they have questions on. During the grading and review time, this is when we go back and we review those things that they have questions on. I grade everything that they've done for the day to make sure that they have worked during their study hall time. And then I have them correct their work as we're sitting there together one-on-one. This is my two big kids one-on-one time with me. All right. If by chance they didn't work independently during study hall, which some kids do not always work by themselves, and this is a training thing. So I do have my kids do homework if they have not completed at least a minimum amount of tasks in the morning. I have them do homework in the afternoon after school is over, right? And that's to teach them and to keep them accountable for for not working, right? So that's after our 4 o'clock release time. They get 2 hours until lunch to do whatever they want to and be kids and have fun, right? And so during those 2 hours, if they haven't done their school in the morning, I make them do their school, and I can sit down one-on-one with them and make sure that that happens, right? Because my other kids are busy. Let's look at back at the schedule. I'm almost done. I'm so sorry. So at in the evenings or in the rest of the afternoon, I do schedule music and PE. Those are two important parts of our day. And then in the evening, this is for my reference and for other people's reference. It shows um, what practices are scheduled, what activities are scheduled during the day. I have a big wall calendar that I keep with this schedule that shows if something changes. That way, the whole family knows if something will change for the day. So that is how I do schedule. It's easy for me. It's easy for me to keep up with, and it keeps my brain together. I hope that that gives you guys some ideas and some thoughts about what you would like to do. Join me next time, and I'll be speaking more about homeschooling, specifically how I plan my curriculum. All right. So have a great evening, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.